Cyberbullying is unfortunately a term we've become all too familiar with, but this next internet danger is one you probably haven't heard of yet.
Parents want to protect their kids from online predators, but what happens when they're cyberbullying themselves? It may sound hard to believe, but self-cyberbullying is a tragic new trend, where teens anonymously post mean things about themselves to gain attention and sympathy from the online community. According to the Cyberbullying Research Center, about 6% of kids ages 12 through 17 have bullied themselves digitally, and recent stats show that those most at risk are depressed girls. So how damaging is this form of self-cyberbullying?
So very disturbing, but Dr. Judy, you say self-cyberbullying is a legit trend, sadly growing trend.
Sadly growing trend, sadly legit trend. I've actually treated many patients with this, and it's really hard to detect, so we don't have good statistics on this.
It's not like cutting, where self-injury is
another self-destructive behavior, exactly.
Absolutely right. It's just another type of self-destructive behavior that's a little bit easier to hide, because if you are an astute parent, you're gonna start seeing these marks on your kids, right? And now these kids are saying, okay, well, here's another way in which I can hide, because they use fake aliases online to bully themselves. So they will make comments on their own pictures about, you're not worthy of being alive, you're so ugly, why don't you just go and cut your face? But these comments are coming from the individual themselves, and that's what's really scary, is that that still contributes even more to their low self-esteem. It makes them want to even attempt suicide or other types of...
Absolutely, and that whole phrase of what the mind conceives, the body achieves is usually used to motivate, like, you know, for a good athletic event or giving a great speech or something. But it's also true in the negative sphere. So what the mind conceives, the body achieves. You're fat, you're ugly, you're not worthy. The suicide rate, listen to this stat, it's astounding. Amongst girls between 12 and 17 years old, doubled between 2007 and 2015. What happened there? Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, that's what happened right there. Nothing else changed.
Absolutely. And I think sometimes when I talk to these patients, I talk to them about why they would do this. And of course, yes, the low self-esteem, they don't actually think they deserve better, but also it's almost as a way to protect themselves preemptively. Like if they say something horrible about their own posts, then if somebody else...
It won't hurt if somebody else does it. They beat them to the punch.
Right, and that's really sad.
Well,
but
these examples may seem like no big deal, but let's use some examples here of self-cyberbullying. You look disgusting. You're fat and ugly. You aren't worthy of love or being alive. That last one is the biggest red flag to me, because you start telling yourself you're not worthy of being loved or being alive. Gets back to that teen suicide rate doubling in 8 years.
This is a cry for help, just as physical abuse. So Dr. Judy, tell us, as parents, I have 3 8-year-old boys, how do I watch out for this kind of behavior since there's no visible cut?
Sometimes parents are a little shy about intruding on their kid. I don't want to intrude on my child. Well, you know what? They're under 18. They live in your house. It is your responsibility to monitor them. It is your responsibility to take care of them.